Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Wild. Today, of course, obviously we're talking Charge Blade and the updated builds for what is the final base game update. Since we've reached some pretty insane element potential with this weapon, with Title Update 4's launch and GOG, the SAEDs were glorious. But now we enjoy some efficiency upgrades thanks to the new Arkveld pieces. Funnily though, with Arkveld, we do want to consider raw and a bonus bit of dragon, considering normal Arkveld's hit zones and the way that works with the exposed chains. It's unlikely the hit zones are different, so based on that we will have a raw build with AT Arkveld in mind. But yeah, overall Charge Blade has been incredible in Wilds, especially after TU4, which majorly sped up our ability to swap to a shield for a guard point, which I can't imagine living without against AT Arkveld right now. As well as stuff like being able to interrupt animations, like ED2's second swing. So I find this a fantastic version of Charge Blade. I'm pretty thrilled by it, and this should be a good final update. Once again though, quick credit and thank you to Josh for putting together the sets and doing the math to back it up today as always, and DTL Nor for the original data mine for what's possible with our RNG talisman system. So let's get into the builds. We'll kick this off then with the raw, because this is probably what you want to use against Arch-Tempered Arkveld specifically. The reason for that is the awkward hit zones for that fight. AT Arkveld's like a brick, but obviously becomes more relevant in terms of hit zones when the chains are exposed, where dragon will be a relevant element since you want to bring it out of that new wilk state as quick as you can. Basically, you're hitting the head whenever you can't hit the chain blades, but you'd rather be hitting the chain blades the whole way. With this, you want to pump raw as high as possible, but again, dragon will be particularly helpful during the exposed chain periods. So the simple answer to this then is having a strong raw setup that benefits from things like artillery and all that goodness. But instead of having a usual paralysis or other status benefit for your raw Charge Blade, we slap on dragon instead, yet maintain the impact vials. So you do usual craft with an impact, then upgrade to gogma to sneak in that little bit of dragon element that we're otherwise not really investing in. But keep in mind for the second section here, when we get to the element builds, that's going to be the best option against all targets as you element match. This one's just going to be particularly good against Arch-Tempered Arkveld, which is relevant right now. So here's the build, starting with the weapon details. Firstly, it's gore Magala's Tyranny and Lord Soul as a familiar option for your active skills for the Gogma Artian. Then for the reinforcement bonuses, again, attack boost across the board with the 1 sharpness. Now the sharpness has the EX obviously, and we have 2 attack boost EX and 2 attack boost 3. For the offensive decorations, you got 2 options really, but I do recommend this one. Critical boost 3, you got your load shells and your handicraft level, and then rapid morph, and ideally with a handicraft off the back of that. This makes the weapon feel smoother. You're doing, your morph loop combo faster and better. Your alternative here is to get 5 crit boost, which is going to be really good as well. But again, this is the setup that I would recommend. Now, obviously, you might be wondering, well, where's the artillery in the build? It's on the talisman. So let's look at the armor set and explain. For the armor, we have the new Gamma Helm from Arkveld, the Gamma New Udra chest piece, Guardian Rathalos gloves and waist, both in beta, and another new piece is Nadia's boots, which have great slots in a 3-2 slot, but they actually give you the set bonus of gore magala like it's one of those armor pieces, which is really cool. Lastly, we have the talisman. This is obviously important. You want your artillery levels here. Then we have a bonus relevant skill, in this case weakness exploit, and you get as many 1 slots as possible depending on your RNG. Technically, you could lose the 3 artillery and get the 2 load shells on your talisman instead, but then in your offensive decorations, you'd have to take off the load shells decoration and slap in artillery, and then you're not benefiting from a handicraft level. But it is an alternative. Anyway, using these decorations, we achieve this skill list, which again is going to be really good for Arkveld, because you have a lot of 1 slots to work with. That's the first page. Here's the second page. As you can see, we have the Scorcher bonus from the Rathalos stuff. Basically, this is just free damage, since you're getting extra fire pops. We of course have the Gore 2 piece for the affinity, and Guts Tenacity from our weapon and the Gamma pieces. With all the 1 slots, you can do what you want. Go Divine Blessing, go Dragon Res, it depends on the context, but I think it's a very good idea to go Dragon Res with these 1 slots, so that AT Arkveld isn't giving you Dragon Blight, assuming you're eating a feast to reach the 20 Dragon Res. As a quick look at the math then, we have 257 base raw, increased by these sources including white sharpness, bringing it to 412.96. Then with the affinity, we have 77% reliable, 4 crit boosts with the setup that I'm recommending, so that brings us overall to 531 effective raw. If you instead ran 5 crit boost, you could get a little bit higher, but again, the benefits of rapid morph are big. And don't forget, on top of all that, we are getting the Scorcher procs for some bonus fire damage. So it's a very strong raw set. You just run like paralysis or other status normally, but in this case against Arch-Tempered Arkveld, we want that dragon and it benefits us a lot. It feels great. But now let's go back to what is more normal, your best option when it comes to the rest of the monsters. This is going to be 2 sets then, because we're once again going back to the whole, here's a set for your dragon focus option, and then one that's for the other 4 elements. This is because again with 80 Arkveld, we have new access to convert element, so we can more efficiently get that. And as a reminder about convert element, you take some element damage of some kind, you get 180 dragon elements specifically in exchange. So dragon set only because it's a dragon specific bonus. It's got 2 minutes of uptime, 90 seconds of downtime, very efficient stuff. And there's also bursts of dragon on top, like you're building some sort of dragon status that bursts for some nice damage. So that's super good. So with that referenced, here's the dragon set first. With the weapon, we have Magala's Tyranny and Lord Soul on the active skills. The reinforcement bonuses as before, all element boost, and we have 2 EX and 2 level 2, with the EX on sharpness for the third one. That's interesting in terms of the offensive decorations, I don't have the best rolls. What you'd be looking for is this. The Ellie attack with a bonus level of handicraft, power prolonger with a bonus level of handicraft, and rapid morph with a bonus level of handicraft. As an alternative, focus is not terrible to help you build up your vials faster, but outside of that, here's the set. We have the Mizu helmet in beta, we have the new Gamma chest piece from Arkveld, we have the Gog gloves in alpha specifically, the Gog waist in beta specifically, and the new Nadia boots for that Magala's Tyranny set bonus. With this, we have an important talisman, 2 levels of load shells, and 2 levels of coalescence. With that, you can have a 2 in a 1 slot at least. If you don't have as much good RNG, then you could just instead craft a talisman that gives you straight 3 levels of coalescence to take away from the RNG majorly. You could also go for the 3 agitator talisman and just redecorate the slots based on what you've done. But you'll need to make sure you have load shells, so keep that in mind for your offensive decorations. But anyway, here's the gear with these decorations to achieve this skill list. Here's the first page, here's the next page. Quite a lot of 1 slots there. But importantly, we have the gore 2-piece, we have bubbly dance to help maintain element procs, the 2-piece of the Gog set, and yeah, that's the set bonuses. Here's a quick look at the math for raw. So that brings us to 333.96. Then we have the affinity. With our no crit boost, that brings us to 384 effective raw total. But more importantly, we're looking at the element. So we start with a base of 630, increased by these multipliers, and then added to that on the flat numbers. That brings us well over the cap to just over 1,519. The LE cap is 1,449 in this context. So we'll debloat that and get your true element of 144.9, multiplied by 50% with the white sharpness to bring you to 166.6 effective element. We have a lot in the build that's going to hit that cap. When everything's going at the same time, you'll overcap. But this is good because it means you're going to more likely be at the cap or pushing towards it from the different element sources, such as when convert elements up versus when it's down. On the other hand then, we have the set for the other 4 elements, obviously not involving convert element. So let's take a quick look again. Same weapon setup, Magala's Tyranny, Lord Soul, same reinforcement bonuses, and the same references for the offensive decorations. The set itself then is the Gog helm in alpha, the Mizu chest in beta, the Gog gloves in alpha, the Mizu waist in alpha, and again the new boots from Nadia's set for the Magala Tyranny set bonus. Same concept here though, the talisman with load shells and coalescence. You could trade this for the 3 coalescence talisman that's crafted, or say agitator 3 talisman, and just redecorate where you need to. Just remember again, load shells, you'll need that. But here are the decorations that I used to achieve this skill list. So there's the first page, here's the second page, and as you can see we have the black eclipse from Magala's set bonus, the bubbly dance from Mizu, and the Gog set bonus. As another highlight of the math then, it is the same raw as the previous set, so 384 effective raw. And then for the element, it's a bit different. Again, 630 base element, multiplied by these sources, and then these flat numbers on top, getting us to 1,389.36. Now, LE cap is 1,449, so it's slightly below that. Anyway, let's debloat that. You get the true element of 138, multiplied by the white sharpness, and it's a consistent 159.7 effective element. So, still very good, without like the extra burst of dragon from convert element. That finally brings us to the SAED focused builds. I'm going to be quick in covering these because it's obviously an off-meta playstyle. You can simply throw out some very good SAEDs by using the element builds we just covered, such as when you're in GOG Phase 3 and now it's time to SAD spam. Those builds are about the meta playstyle and combos, but people still want to SAD spam exclusively, so at least highlighting those builds for people who want to do that. Now, I don't have the ideal setup for this, so to be clear, your active skills on your weapons for these sets, Lord Soul is great, but you don't want gore Magala's Tyranny, you want the gogma for that set bonus. That way you'll actually be at 4 for the set bonus of mutual hostility to get level 2 of that. Otherwise, everything is correct here with the element boost, 2 EX to level 2, and then the EX on sharpness. And for the offensive decorations, you will want to make sure that you have the focus, so that you're building vials to build them and spend them as much as possible. But here's the dragon focus set first, since again, convert elements so efficient with the new Gamma Arkveld. You'll get extra dragon element from that, and bursts of dragon pops like a status. So for this, we have the Gog helmet in alpha, the Gamma chest piece from Arkveld, the Gog gloves in alpha, the Gog waist in beta, and then the Mizu boots in alpha. For the talisman, we once again have the 2 load shells and 2 coalescence roll. And if you're doing no RNG or can't get this, then you use the level 3 coalescence talisman, the crafted one, and redecorate your weapon again to have load shells. In this case though, we use these decorations to achieve this skill list. There's the first page for you to look at, here's the second page. And with the proper setup, you will get the 4 piece of the Gogma set bonus for mutual hostility too. Now, obviously with this concept here, there's overkill, big overkill for element. Your whole purpose as an SAD spammer with these builds is to just be building SAD with your sword and then SADing. Not everything's going to be active all at once, so convert element from this set will only have a little over 50% uptime. So while your average element's going to be super high and you will overcap a good amount, that's why. Anyway, quick look at the element math. 630 base element, multiplied from these sources, and then again from these flat additions on top, getting you overcapped by a lot to 1747.6. Again, the early cap is 1449 in this context, so we take that, debloat it, and you get 144.9 true element for your SAD. White sharpness will affect your sword hits there. In that case, it'd be 166.6 effective element. But yes, not everything's going to be firing at the same time always, but with this set, you'll be hitting a lot, enough to be at that cap or slightly over it most of the time, so your SADs are always hitting as hard as possible. If you're not doing dragon, then you got some sort of other target, then we got the 4 element set. Same concepts across the board then, but then for the armor set, we have the Gog helmet in alpha, the Mizu chest in beta, the Gog gloves in alpha, the Gog waist in beta, and the Zoshia boots in beta, with again the talisman, load shells, and coalescence. Once more, if you don't have this RNG talisman set up, then you'd go for the crafted talisman to 3 coalescence and redecorate the weapon to have load shells. Anyway, you use these decorations to achieve this skill list, so there's the first page, there's the second page for you. With the proper setup, you'd also have mutual hostility too. And then as a quick look at the math, 630 base element, multiplied by these sources and then these flat additions, getting you overcap at 1577.6 when everything's firing at once. Again, the cap is 1449, we'll deblow that to the true element of 144.9 for SAD hits. Then your white sharpness will be relevant for your normal hits, so that brings you to 166.6 effective element. So you're still overcapping when everything's firing, but when everything isn't, you're close or at that cap to make sure those SADs hit as hard as possible. Lastly, a no RNG version, so whether you're doing SAD or Savage Axe, the starting point without an RNG talisman, this is that. Same concepts, but for the set we have the Gog Alpha helm, the Mizu chest in alpha, the Gog gloves in alpha, the Gog waist in beta, and finally the Gog boots in alpha. Then for the crafted talisman, again, coalescence, level 3. We use these decorations to achieve this skill list, so there's the first page there, and there's the second page. And you can see I've got a lot of empty 1 slots for whatever you might want, plenty of comfort options there. Overall, this set compared to the others will give you a lot less reliable uptime on your capped element, but it's a very solid option that's not really far behind. So if you're looking to play quote-unquote properly with the Savage Axe and you know the morph loop, this is a great starting point. It still reaches high element if you're going to spam SADs, if that's the playstyle you're going for. But yeah, there you have it. That is our final update for Chargeblade with the last major update for base wilds. Obviously, we tried to cover everything from raw, your proper meta gameplay with elements, and then SAD lovers. You have that focus there if you want it. So I hope this gives you everything you might need. If you've enjoyed the video, do drop a like. And now it's on to my next build update for me. Until next time then, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.